What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, I want to talk about Bitcoin and its continued downtrend. Is this something you should be worried about? I know there's a lot of fear out there. Is Bitcoin finally bearish? Should we be looking for bounces? Should we be looking for shorts, longs? What the heck is going on? So I want to cover it all in today's video so you guys have a clear view of what is next to come here for Bitcoin, or at least what my thoughts are. So I want to cover those key levels of support to the downside that you have to have on your chart, as Bitcoin is 100% entering the danger zone as far as critical support. And then I also want to go over a few other things with you guys, especially the key levels above that we must flip to support in order to finally be looking for higher prices. We'll take a look at Market Cypher. We'll take a look at some of the trades, and hopefully I can give the Mafia a little bit of a clear view of what is about to come next for Bitcoin. So guys, here we are on the Bitcoin chart, and as you can see, we have for sure gotten another little move to the downside here. And like I said in the beginning of the video, is this something we should be worried about? Hopefully I can put some people's nerves at ease here, or maybe freak some people out. Well, here's the thing, guys. If you guys have been watching along with the channel, tuning into the live streams, if you saw my last market update that I think we posted on Thursday or Friday, you guys will know that this drop to the downside has not really been all that surprising, as there have been some pretty clear signs on the chart that we may see some bigger moves down, more specifically back down to the bottom of our volume profile, which we have been looking at, which is coming in currently between 71,350 and about 63,400. 63.5. Now again, if you have been following along with the channel, you guys will know we saw this red dot on the weekly chart not too long ago, which was helping us look for short positions up here at the value area high. And as you guys know, when we come up to the highs of these ranges or these volume profiles, this is typically where we look for shorts. And the short setup was given in the premium Discord, or the kitchen as I like to call it, from up here at the tippy top. And I actually did not take the trade on Bitcoin, but I did take the trade on Ethereum, which I will show you guys in just a second. But not only did we come up to the value area high, we also had the weekly red dot that was also looking to print somewhat soon. And then we also had some higher time frame red dots such as the 2-day, the daily, etc. With money flow, more importantly, this is one of the main things we were looking at, was the money flow coming to the downside, not only on the daily time frame, but also on these higher daily time frames such as the 2-day, which is still continuing to the downside. The 3-day is also continuing down. And as you guys know, money flow indicates the longer term trend. So as we saw money flow continuing out here, also on time frames such as the 12-hour, the 16-hour, it was very, very likely, not even looking at just the money flow, guys, but once we rejected that value area high, you know that next likely place for price to go is going to be that POC. And then as we've been on the live stream for the past week or so, looking at price approaching the POC, we knew once we got stuck underneath this, it was going to be very, very likely to get a move down to our value area low and get a potential deviation below the range, which simply is exactly what we're seeing right now. Now, as you guys know, this is not typically where I get super bearish, because if you guys have been here for a while, you know when we deviate above the volume profile, we look for shorts, and when we deviate below the volume profile, this is typically where we look for long positions, which this was a trade that I had actually taken with the premium Discord. So this is not typically where we get super bearish, but more where we start to pay attention to if we can look for longs. Now, in my previous market update, you guys will know we talked about some very, very important levels of support that we absolutely must hold if we want to look for higher prices on Bitcoin, or more importantly, if we don't want to see a big dump. Now, we are basically at these levels right now, so let me go ahead and pull these up for you guys. Now, those key levels that we were looking at was simply a Fibonacci golden pocket 786 retracement level, and as you guys can see here, we had come down to that golden pocket. We had not seen much support, and you know once you lose that golden pocket, if you are unable to get a bounce and you start losing it decisively, it is very likely that you're going to come in a little bit closer to that 786 retracement, which is that line in the sand, guys. In my personal opinion, this will be the line in the sand. If we do get another move down, I will be looking for a bounce off that 786, but simply put, if we are unable to hold this 786, guys, I would mark this down on your chart, because once we break below this and we cannot get back above, this will very likely open up the door for more downside, potentially starting the bigger move down to our next key level of support that we've been looking at on the live stream, which does come in on this naked value area, sitting between 51 and $152,000. And with the higher time frame money flow coming to the downside like it is right now, if we start seeing this 2-day, 3-day money flow start to cross over into the red, this could be seriously worrisome for Bitcoin, especially if you're not excited about it getting back down to 51 to 52K. So in my opinion, this 786 is going to be absolutely critical for us to hold in order to get a bigger move back up to higher prices. And we are approaching that level extremely quickly. And if we pull up the liquidation heat maps here, guys, you can see down here just below those lows, those current lows sitting here between about 57 and 56.5, you guys can see we do have quite a bit of liquidity sitting below those lows. And if we know anything about liquidity, we know that it does act as a magnet for price. It's one of the reasons why we were looking for this extra little move to the downside, because we knew that we did have a little bit of liquidity sitting down below, but there is a large amount of liquidity sitting down below these lows, which could potentially act as a magnet for price, which would likely give us a break of this 786 before going for those levels, which again, like I said, if we do not get a quick dump below that level and a reclaim of that support, it could open up the door for much more downside for Bitcoin. So again, not only is it that 786, but we do have to be careful. If we do lose that 786, we may just go sweep that liquidity below these lows real quick before getting a big return back to the upside. But as of right now, that liquidity is going to act as a magnet, sucking price lower. So again, is going to be something you want to pay attention to. So guys, I want to break down the chart and show you guys kind of how I'm looking at the chart as far as context. And number one, I am looking at that main range here, which is obviously the main volume profile that we've been looking at that we've obviously lost now. And as you guys know, every time you lose a volume profile, that value area low of that range does become key resistance. So if we are able to get some kind of short-term relief here, which doesn't seem like it's going to happen, but we totally could see it come in, as we do have some of these higher time frames, such as the 8-hour VWAP, pretty deep down here below the 0 line. We're also pretty oversold here, not only on the 8-hour, but the 6-hour, the 5-hour, the 4-hour. We are pretty deep below that negative 60 line. Now, this does not guarantee that you're going to get a bounce, but typically when you're oversold like that, you do see some kind of a rebound or retracement back to the upside, especially with our VWAP coming up here, as you can see. So if we are able to get some kind of a bounce to come in here, I would be looking at this value area low as a very key level of resistance. And the reason for that is we know that if we are going to decisively break out of this range and we are going to continue much lower, it is very common for price to come back up and test this value area low as resistance before finally getting that rejection down to lower prices. So as we get that push up, as long as our money flow is continuing into the red, because as we know, the money flow indicates that longer term trend, this is how we stay on the right side of the trades. If we see that money flow continuing into the red, especially on the daily, as we approach this resistance level, this may be an area to look for that big rejection back down to lower prices. Now, not only is this a key level of resistance, but it is also a very key support resistance flip, because in my opinion, guys, if we are going to look for a bigger move to the upside, potentially back up to the high of the range, this is that doorway to higher prices, being that it is the value area low. So what we want to see here, if we are going to continue up, which again, doesn't look super certain right now. Again, I would definitely at first be looking at this as very strong resistance, but if we were able to get a move back up above this level and flip that value area low to support decisively, that is where we could eventually look for moves back up to higher prices. Obviously, within context of the volume profile, the next target would be the POC of the range, which currently comes in at $67,000. But we have a lot of work to do to get back up in there. And as this downtrend continues, guys, with money flow coming out and the market structure being bearish locally here, it would be, in my opinion, statistically more probable to be looking for shorts rather than longs at this point. Now, that doesn't mean that we cannot bounce from where we're at right now, because we actually have come down to some pretty interesting levels. If we pull up this little mini range we have here, you guys can see by pulling our range on this little area of consolidation that we had down here, you guys can see we have come down to that value area low, which may not be impossible to bounce off of, but again, with our 786 so close here, I would prefer to see a bigger move down to that 786. That way we are at least looking for a long position as we deviate below that range low, and then we can hold that 786 and potentially get the move back up. But these are definitely the key levels of support, guys. And again, that 786 sitting almost at 60K is really that key level. It's 59,765. And once we lose that level, unless we're going for some kind of crazy stop hunt here where we're just going to stop out all the longs from down here before quickly returning back up and getting a bigger move to the upside, losing this 786 is definitely going to be a bearish sign in my book, especially with the way money flow looks right now. Now, if we do get the bigger break to the downside here and we lose these key levels of support and we don't get the liquidity grab down here from the lows and we do wind up getting the bigger move to the downside, guys, we are short in the premium Discord from the tippy top here on this swing failure pattern. I'm actually short here on Ethereum. Here you go. There is that Ethereum short here, guys, up about 605%, up about $2,200. I've already taken profits on this trade, probably going to shave a little bit off now, and my stop loss will be moved into profit here in case Bitcoin and Ethereum decide to break these ranges and really go for lower prices. I can continue to profit off these shorts simply taken from the top. And the reason we took these trades up here, guys, had everything to do with the volume profiles, waiting for that price to deviate above the highs. That's where we looked for the short entry, and we simply looked for it to return back into the volume profile. After we get stuck below that value area high, we know that next likely place for price to go is the POC. We know that POC is going to act as a magnet, but we knew that once you reject that point of control, it is more likely than not that you will see that full rotation of the range. And this is something we talked about on the live stream for the past few days. And what happened? We finally got down below that POC and got that move down to the value area low, hitting that final take profit where that decision comes in. Do I want to hold a moon bag here for lower prices in case they do come? And you bet your bottom dollar I'll be taking that profit and moving my stop loss to at least break even for a guaranteed winning trade. So very simply put, guys, key level of support that you need to hold is sitting between $59,714 and $60,996, almost 61K. And then that key level of resistance, or I would say key zone of resistance that you must get above in order to look for more upside, is going to be 64.5 down to about 63.4K. And until we can reclaim this purple box, guys, I am definitely going to be favoring shorts at this level, looking to target those lower prices. And until we come down to this 786, and I am not really looking for longs until we can push a little bit lower into this box and potentially come test this 786. But nonetheless, guys, these are the key levels that you want to be keeping an eye on. Bitcoin is for sure dancing with danger, especially testing these key levels as money flow is coming out. And to be honest here, guys, we may be just kind of ready for a little bit of a bigger pullback unless we can hold these key levels. So with all that being said, hopefully that helps you guys out, knowing these key levels and seeing, as we have been looking for these lower prices to get hit, hopefully over time, watching these updates, being in the live stream, and then seeing price come down to these levels that we're looking at, you can start to see why we anticipate price to move there, and it starts to click in your head. So one day you could become a profitable trader, grabbing your money out of this market every single day, like we do in the Candle Mafia. So with all that being said, guys, hopefully this helps you out. Pray for Bitcoin. We must hold these key levels. I'll see you guys in the next one. Frankie Candles
Here we
out.
go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, we winning by a landslide, never see me coming, I'm a landmine, yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like,